They call this place the Harbor of Echoes, where sound returns with a memory you can't forget.
Our ship slipped into its teeth like a gull into a storm. The predominantly East Asian crew.
We were told to leave at once. Nobody who grew up here ever stayed long. But the work called us, and curiosity louder.
Welcome was weathered into a warning. You could read it if you wanted to know what not to do.
Every step echoed twice. Once behind you, once for someone already gone. We split up. It's what people do when the place is too big to be ignored and too small to be safe. The building breathed dust. In the corner, a shadow moved with a purpose that was not ours.
We found journals. Someone had written in panic, then stopped. The last line is a whisper you can still hear.
They kept pictures like prayers. Faces of people who trusted the sea and were repaid with forgetting.
The bell had cracked the night the tide first turned on the town.
Streets lay, as if people stepped out for one more quick errand and never returned.
The market was a moment trapped in the cold, supper half served, a stool still warm in memory.
Inside were things that belonged to living hands. Now only shadows knew how to hold them.
The toy rocked as if a phantom tide licked the floor. You notice little things first. Little things remember longest.
Names were everywhere, carved into rock, into old planks, into the breath of men who thought they were safe.
Time here is a rumor. The clock hands froze the night the harbor swallowed the ferry.
We found the ring, but not the moment it was used. When you find echoes, you are never certain who made the sound.
A light moved under the surface. Not bioluminescence, something older, someone signaling a wrong direction.
The harbor kept its town like a memory book beneath the tide, pages wet and legible still.
Sounds came up wrong from the deep, laughter stretched thin, then pulled taut into cries.
We saw windows under the waves, and through them the dinner plates, the curtains, the exact last nights.
It was tempting to think the water protected us. It did not. It held the watchers.
They had a chapel for every sorrow. The chapel still had a hymn trapped in it.
Because some things are lit for forever, even if the wick is underwater.
Touch something long forgotten and the harbor will notice. It shivers, and then it answers. A sound rose up many more bide.
When you place your hand on the old stones, they remember the hands that once did the same.
The whispers are personalized. The sea will call you by the story you hid.
Footprints traced themselves in the puddles, not leading away, but always leading toward the water.
The harbor pointed. It always points at the thing it wants to keep.
The mural smiles even in paint. The painted children never leave their canvas.
They wrote about tides like wills. When the tide takes, the words bled into margins.
The shoe moved as if still being worn. That's when it stopped feeling like an old place and started feeling like a living one.
Initials. Over and over. Each a promise not kept.
Look at your reflection here, and you will know if the harbor smiles at you or simply accepts you.
Their hymn had become a sonar. It combed the dark for listening shapes. The stone remembers lungs. It sighed when we climbed.
People leave things to keep spirits kind. Here the harbor returned the offerings as memories. Pieces of people were kept as trinkets. The trinkets still kept pieces back.
The water was no longer flat. It folded into shapes, like pages of a book waiting to be read aloud.
That melody is not mercy. It is a calling card. It sets a map inside the skull.
When the cold and the hush combine, your thoughts betray you. You remember who you owe.
Speak, and the harbour will send your words back with interest, an echo of regret.
They walk if you watch them long enough. They walk so you will forget how to leave.
No wake, no ripple. They abide by different physics, ones that take, not give.
Seeing your name carved beside the water is not coincidence here. It is a notice.
Lights changed color without electricity, as if signaling something below. Faces try on the surface and find they still fit.
Even the path back will test whether your feet are yours or the harbor's to borrow.
Eleanor. When your name is whispered from the water, you learn how loud silence can be.
Longing sounds like laughter when the want is for living things.
We move together because people who move apart are easier to take.
The tavern would pour answers if only you'd drink from its patience.
She was not malevolent. She was precise, as if counting the living.
The bell rang like a law, and the law bent the living to its will.
They even send you aid that looks like rescue but smells of history. Every stroke brings a memory up to the light, memories that prefer breathless company.
We shouldn't go near that thing. It's unnatural.
We need the cargo, and this is the only way.
You decide quickly in places that slow time in, quickly enough to be wrong.
On board, the air tastes of acceptance and debt.
We floated above roofs where children once sang. The songs were still there, only broken.
Memory is a slippery thing here.
They point where they themselves were taken. We followed, foolishly certain we could read the map. The square kept its pattern on the bottom like a rug. We walked over it, as if the world above had never changed.
When the world writes instructions on your hull, you find it impossible to soothe your curiosity.
Our guardian was a compass that did not want locations found, only secrets kept.
You can watch endings like films if you float in the right tide.
They blame the sea, as if it were a person who had refused to keep promises.
And when they look back, you learn how naked your decisions are.
Lights wink below like a second town, a place that mirrors what we refuse to remember.
We kept your debts!
You don't argue with sentences from the deep. You remember what you owe.
The touch is cold as regret and soft as a lullaby, both comforting and condemning.
There are ships that never surrender. They become altars.
They sat and waited for an answer that never came.
Music is proof the living once met the dead, and both are
They reach to show you something, not to drag you down, but to teach you what they were taught.
Needle trembled toward a place even older, where silence is a kingdom.
There is an island that eats sound.
Markers read like instructions. We read them, and the sea read us.
The ground crunches with things that are almost teeth.
Faces here don't keep time. They trade expression with whoever walks by.
Ancient bargains were recorded in murals. They looked reasonable then.
Silence here is an audience. Silence asks questions with its eyes.
The pool is the harbor's mirror. Look long, and your fight fades into obligation.
You find names you forgot you had. Memory is a liar when the sea calls.
Familiar smells are the cruelest currencies here.
Tommy! Calling names is the easiest way to steal a man. The harbor never forgets what you loved.
When you return from the memory, you find physical traces. Regret is sticky.
Every house was an archive of sudden departures. We walked through postcards of final afternoons.
Clocks trade forward time for backward truth here.
Knocks from below are invitations or ultimatums. The sound does not clarify which.
We pried the trap open because curiosity is how most bargains start.
They prayed not to a god, but to a silence.
What is your favorite thing? The thing below knows your favorite things. It uses them to make bargains sound like gifts.
Choices are offered like a soft rope. They claim to be merciful. Leaving earns you a debt. Debts linger like boats waiting.
The aurora was a hymn with missing verses. The harbor sang incomplete songs.
Their ships were libraries here. Hulls preserved titles of people forgotten by the land but dear to the sea.
Reading aloud makes it real again. The sea applauds names like a patron. Water wakes in patterns when it's preparing to keep something. Hands are so persistent. They reach out until they have company.
Sometimes the sea borrows ordinary things and makes them monstrous.
The harbor affords mercy to those it favors. It takes the rest as examples. The compass now points only to where things refuse to be lost.
Backward songs teach you how to forget forward.
Escaping is always possible in a story, but not in a memory.
The harbor is not alone. It keeps company with others who are as hungry for stories.
Navigation fails when the world decides the rules don't apply. You are left with the map the sea makes. Sometimes survivors are trophies, sometimes warnings. Here, both.
They take pieces, not whole things, so you are never sure what you have lost.
Even our tokens change allegiance without permission.
The stars here answer the harbor, and the harbor answers back.
When the deep moves, you hold on to what you can and hope it's enough.
Calm before the final recognition is the most dangerous kind of quiet.
You can apologize to water. It records.
Light recedes the island's hold. Morning is the harbor's least formidable enemy.
We left with less than we brought, but more than we wanted to carry.